Also received several samples of awarded research and NGO grant proposals. Register now at www.academicenclave.org/GWA. Now. The academicenclave.org/DAA to register now. The Age Academy also features Research Innovation Academy, a dynamic hub at the forefront of groundbreaking research. It's a 6-week certification course with 13 robust modules as shown on our screen. Key takeaways are mastery in crafting winning grant proposals, accredited certification, access to a comprehensive 1,303-page resource document outlining global grant opportunities valued at €534,990. Receive several samples of awarded research and NGO grant proposals. At the Research Innovation Academy, we empower researchers to tap into their creative wellspring and turn innovative concepts into tangible outcomes. Register now at www.academicenclave.org/RIA. The Age Academy also presents the Grant Writing Academy, a comprehensive 3-week grant writing certification course that is meticulously designed to empower researchers, academics, non-profit organizations, project consultants, small business owners, project managers, and social entrepreneurs with the skills to craft compelling grant proposals. Key takeaways are mastery in crafting winning grant proposals, accredited certification, access to a comprehensive 1,303-page research document outlining global grant opportunities valued at €534,990. Also received several samples of awarded research and NGO grant proposals. Register now at www.academicenclave.org/GWA. Age now.
Ladies and gentlemen, doctors, professors, members of faculty, distinguished scholars, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. depending on where you're joining us from. We are glad to have you at the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave. This is our 48th keynote lecture, and we're happy to have you join the call this morning. So while we give a little more time for others to join us, please do well to go to the chat section on your YouTube and introduce yourself. Let's get to meet you. Let's get to know you. Let's get to connect with you. Can you type your name, your affiliation, and where you're joining us from, or like to get to connect with you? While we give a few more minutes for others to join the call, please do well to introduce yourself in the chat section. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in a few minutes. Just linger a little before the presentation commences. Thank you. As you're joining in, please go to the YouTube section. Yes, I can see Engineer Promise Okpe from Federal University of Allied Health Sciences, Enugu. You're welcome. I can see Awode Komlan Justin from National University of Agriculture, Benin. You're welcome. Felicia Bu, Unijos. You're welcome. Felicia. Abdulatif Olawuyi Yahya Imam from Public Health, student from Osun State University. You are very much welcome to join this call this morning. SD Dual, good morning. You're welcome. I can see Dr. Hosia Uni Abuja. You're welcome. Dr. JC Ehiwario, you're welcome. I can see Bolaji Akoni, doctoral student, Department of Philosophy, University of Ibadan. You're welcome. Idris Sadu, Idris, PhD student, electrical engineering, telecommunication option, you're welcome. Bamidele Olubayode, you're welcome from Bowen University. I can see a lot of people are joining the call. Please, once you come in, just introduce yourself on the YouTube chat so we could get to connect with you. I can see quite a lot of people are joining us. Mr. Billy David, PhD candidate in Nasarawa State University, Kefi, you're welcome. Abimbola Olabode from the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development, University of Ilorin, Kwara State, you're welcome. Ogechuku Bridget Okeke, faculty member Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka. Thank you for joining the 48th lecture of the keynote lecture of the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave. I can see Love Opogen, a PhD student from University of Port Harcourt. You're welcome. Kofisile Peter Olufemi from Lagos State University of Education. You're very much welcome. Khadijat Ahmed, you're welcome. Quite a number of people are joining the call. Please, as you're joining in, please introduce yourself so we could get to connect with you. And also would like you to react on the YouTube by using the love emoji, the like emoji, and also clicking on the like button so that we could create more awareness about this very groundbreaking lecture this morning. So as you're joining, please keep on introducing yourself while we wait for others to join the call. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, a number of people are joining the call. Quite a number of people are joining. So as you come in, do well to react with the emoji at the bottom there, and then also like the video so we could create more awareness about the video. Share with your colleagues. The links are available. Do well to share. Invite your colleagues, invite your partners, invite your friends to join this lecture, because it's going to be one that you're going to remember throughout your career as an academic faculty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can see the introductions, the reactions coming in. I can see Enai Kele Adams, Federal College of Fisheries and Marine Technology, Victoria Island, Lagos. You're welcome, sir. You can see Taiwo Ahmed, Leeds City University, Ibadan, University of Ibadan. You're welcome. Quite a number of academic scholars joining in this morning. You can see Yusuf Jibrin Akuchen, a PhD candidate, Nigerian Defense Academy. How is Kaduna, Mr. Yusuf? Thank you for joining the call. Ajanaku Patients, Public Health, Leeds City University, Ibadan. And quite a number of people. I might not be able to read out all the names of everyone on the call, but then I can see also Lydia Mwendwa. Sorry if I didn't get that pronunciation right. From Kenya. I can see you. You're welcome. How is Nairobi? Mrs. or Miss Lydia, Dr. Lydia, you're welcome. Thank you for joining in. Can see quite a number of scholars from all around Nigeria, all around Africa, and all around the globe joining in for this magnificent lecture this morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much. We'll be starting in a matter of few minutes. We'll be commencing. Let the introductions keep coming in. Tell us your name and tell us your affiliation and tell us where you're joining us from. Thank you so much. I can see Dr. Usman Zitsu Ndaku, Dr. Umaru Sanda Amadu College of Education, Mina, Niger State. You're very much welcome. You're very, very much welcome. Please do well to introduce yourself as you join the call. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs up so that we could create more awareness about this lecture. And as you join in, don't keep the good news to yourself. Share the link with your friends, colleagues, and families who you would want to partake of this lecture. Thank you so much for joining. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, doctors, professors, members of faculty, and all academics present on the call this morning, You're all welcome once again, like I said earlier, to the 48th keynote lecture of the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave. And this morning, I believe and I know that you'll be getting so much value for your time. So don't switch screens, don't change any location, just get a very good place, sit put, and get ready for value. Get your pen, get your jotters, and be ready to pen down some very, very mind blowing secrets on how to prepare for PhD defense, which is also called your VIVA. Thank you so much as you're joining. Let's get to know you, your name, your affiliation, and where you're joining us from. So, right about now, we'll be commencing um, the lecture, we'll be commencing the presentation. So, but before we do that, I would like to give you a brief about the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave. Now, over the past 2 years, age Over the past 2 years, AGE, Academic and Grant Writing Enclave, we've been able to train over 30,000 researchers, um, over 1,200 professors, over 11,276 PhD holders from 153 countries around the globe within just a period of 2 years. So it's of no coincidence that you're on this call this morning, and we are going to be learning strategies from a globally renowned scholar, Dr. Wadzani Dauda. Sharing with us mind-blowing secret strategies on how to prepare for your thesis defense in order for it not to become a crisis presentation. That's on a lighter note though. So, but get your pen, get your jotters, and be ready for exquisite value this morning. If you're glad to be on this call, can you just very quickly on the chat box just type PhD thesis defense? Very quickly before we commence, just type on the live chat PhD thesis defense. Very quickly, I would like to see your responses and then we can begin. Just go on the live chat and type PhD thesis defense. Thank you. Thank you. On the live chat, just type PhD thesis defense. Thank you so much, Promise Okpe. Thank you so much. I would like to see more of that, and then we can commence. PhD thesis defense. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, distinguished scholars. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That means we are together. So get ready. Like I said, don't switch screens. Just stay put on your screen. So before I commence, I would like to read out the citation of Dr. Wadzani Dauda. All right. Dr. Wadzani Dauda Palnam is a researcher, academic mentor, and life coach. Currently serving as a faculty member at the Federal University, Gashua, Nigeria. His illustrious career is marked by over 120 scholarly publications, reflecting his unwavering commitment to advancing scientific discourse. Dr. Dauda holds esteemed positions, including editorial board memberships for Frontiers in Genome Editing, Plus One, Springer Nature, Francis and Elsevier journals. He's ranked Africa's top 10 most published researcher in biological and agricultural sciences by Elsevier Civil Scopus. Recognized for his scholarly eminence, Dr. Dauda has received accolades and grants from prestigious organizations such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, UNESCO, Regeneron, American Phytopathological Society, American Society of Microbiology, Department of Biotechnology, India, World Academy of Science, Italy, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, and the prestigious MJ Thiru Malaka Merit Award for Young Scientists in 2022. In 2025, he received the prestigious APS Jain International Research Award, USA, for his contributions to international plant pathology and food security. Due to the significant nature of Dr. Dauda's research findings and his noteworthy achievements, it is unsurprising that he has been offered postdoctoral positions in esteemed academic research laboratories at Louisiana State University, USA, Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Israel, Masaryk University, Czech Republic, and Indian Institute of Technology, Mandi, India. His extensive research interests encompass diverse domains, including disease detection, mycotoxicology, agricultural microbiology, genome editing, and bioinformatics. Dr. Dauda's intellectual versatility is further highlighted by his membership in renowned societies such as the American Society for Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, International Society for Computational Biology, International Society for Molecular Plant Microbe Interactions, Society for Applied Microbiology, American Phytopathological Society, American Society for Microbiology, the Nigerian Young Academy, and the Royal Society of Biology, UK. He holds esteemed title of Fellow of Society for Plant Research, FSPR. Dr. Dauda is the director currently of research and development at the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave Age. Dr. Dauda has been invited as keynote speaker at various national and international institutions and conferences, including the UNESCO International Center for Biotechnology in Nsukka, Nigeria, Doctoral Academy of Nigeria, National Open University of Nigeria, University of Jos, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Anamalai University, and several others. Dr. Dauda's collaborative endeavors extend globally, fostering intellectual exchange with research groups in leading universities. In essence, he stands as an exemplar of scholarly excellence, illuminating the path of scientific inquiry and leaving an indelible mark on the annals of academia. Dr. Dauda is a dedicated researcher who values the importance of family and is happily married to engineer Deborah Dauda, and together they are blessed with two sons. So, ladies and gentlemen, global scholars of the academic space, from wherever you're joining us on the universal landscape, can you do well if your hands are not too busy to react with the emoji on the live chat? And as we welcome the global scholar, the academic maestro, Dr. Wadzani Dauda, as he teaches us on this keynote lecture on how to prepare for PhD defense. Thank you so much, sir, Dr. Wadzani. You're welcome. You can have the mic.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gina Silas. I don't know if I'm audible or this my slide is on.
Loud and clear, sir.
All right, thank you so much. So once again, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on which part of the world you're joining us from. Today, quite a lot will be happening. But then, way of introduction, I thank you for being around. Today, we're all here. There are different categories of persons that are here. Some are here as PhD students who are who are maybe just starting, or some at the middle, or some really they've gotten a defense date and they are preparing towards it. While we also have professors, researchers, supervisors of either PhD or master students who are here themselves, and just to refresh their memory and all of that. In the academic world, there is curiosity is actually what keeps us alive, actually. And so everyone is highly respected and welcome to today's course. So without much ado, today is going to be a long day, so I would want you to really sit tight and get set. And quite a lot will be happening. So yeah, we'll get to
Hello, scholars. Just hold on standby as we fix the audio problem. Just a minute. Our apologies for the breach in transmission.
So I'm back. Sorry for the network glitch. I don't know if my slide is on now.
Clearly visible, sir.
All right. And it's audible, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Sorry, the network just had a network glitch. So, like I said, today is going to be a long day, and I hope to see the timeline we'll be able to be done with it. So, like I said, we'll be discussing about understanding the process, the preparation. How do you prepare? What are the psychology? How do you begin the session? How do you defend the thesis itself? Various sections possible. In case you're asked this, what are the possible outlets of questions? How do you handle dynamics between your examiners? You know, in one of my defense, I remember the external examiner was speaking this way, and one of the professors was speaking the other different direct. How do you handle such dynamics? How do you handle difficulties? How do you handle tough questions that you have no idea about? Now, understanding the outcomes, what happens, how do you get to prepare for the outcome of the PhD Viva? All right. Then, of course, what happens after the Viva, and some few things that we'll get to reflect about. So, like I said earlier, understanding the process, the entire process of the PhD defense, it's a moment in which it's like a rite of passage, actually, right? It's like a rite of passage that quite a lot, goes through the mind of the person preparing. Quite a lot. The person is trying to figure out, what are the possible questions that I'll be asked in case this happens, and all kinds of panic. And sorry if you are, majority of the people that are on this call are from Africa. In Africa, it gets a little bit tough because there's a lot of, cultural shift around that. So understanding the process. So the first question we need to really address is what the Viva really tests. What does the Viva actually test, right? The Viva is not a period where, you are making maybe a seminar presentation, maybe within the faculty and the department, and you are get to be praised for literally anything or so. In this period, they're actually testing the real gist or the heart of your work. They are not looking for surface. And sometimes, especially if it is, when you, like where I did my master's, I did my master's at Ahmadu Bello University. In some departments in Ahmadu Bello University, and which happens in most universities also, you get to have sessions where there's a very detailed, all the 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 or more than that. People in the panel will open the thesis, and from page 1 till the end, everyone is going through your thesis and everything. So it seeks evidence that you really understand enough to defend the questioning. And so what you need to understand is that you are not there to show them how brilliant or how smart you are. You are rather there to prove to them you did the work. That's it. So they understand your clarity of thought, the ownership of your idea, and sometimes your ability to reason from principle, not memory. Principle means whether it is the theoretical principles behind the things you did or the conceptual principles behind the things you did, and quite a number of principles behind the science you've applied, the method you've used, the approaches, and how you interpreted the result. You chose to do this statistical method. Why do you choose it? Those are the kind of reasoning that they will ask you. They are not there to, of course, they know that you've done the work. So not done the work in quote means there's already a bulk document before them. For like, and the document can be bulky, depends on the kind of work you did, or depends on the expectations, right? So there's already a bulky document. I think my PhD thesis was about 326 pages. So that's a whole big bogus document on its own. So now, and that of course was sent to two professors, and before the Viva, I remember some years ago. And so the question is not about volume. You have a document already. So what they are trying to test that time is, do you own these things? That's the things in their mind. Every external examiner, that's the things in their mind. Some people may be here, they are master student. It literally follows the same thing. It's just that for PhD, there's a little more expectations from you. So you are being tested for maturity as a scholar, not obedience as a student. I want you to type it on the chat box. Maturity as a scholar, not obedience as a student. A student, if they challenge you, oh, what do you do? Oh, yes, I did this. Did you do? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, that's not the thing at this point. All right. So you don't really put yourself into a very subjective position, nor do you put yourself in an arrogant position. The difference between confidence and arrogance is usually sometimes a thin line. And so also the difference between inferiority complex and sobriety, same thing. They all follow similar patterns. So the structure of the defense varies worldwide. Like I was saying earlier, for those of you that are in United Kingdom, usually, most times, it happens in a closed session, serious questioning, and of course, so many written corrections that the external examiners will, paint your thesis red and all of that. So in that part, that's what usually happens. It's not public, it's not open. Then for US, most universities conduct their examinations public seminar. Is you have to make a public presentations, then you now go to private committee for defense. And in that private committee, that's when the thoroughness now happens. That's when you can sometimes some spend hours, some depends on what happens. If you are in Europe, mostly it's like a formal ceremony. It's more like they are finished a lot, so there's not really so much fire burning somewhere. So there's no, like, there's one raging fire somewhere that is burning, and no, you can invite your family and all of that. I remember those days when we were students, and even when we graduated and all of that, some of our either seniors or persons we respect so much get to invite us for their PhD VIVA, and oh my God, the question that used to go on our mind is this how this thing is? And you will literally dread when you will be coming to make a presentation, because I mean, it's like you see the man or the woman came with her husband. I remember one of the women, she was pregnant. I was scared, let labor not just initiate, because the kind of question they were asking her, I was feeling it. They were like, one of the persons were like, as far as it's concerned, this work is rubbish. This is that, this is this. And, the whole thing was just, but in Africa, in Europe, it's not like that. Like I said, for Africa, it is usually, it's a hybrid system, written and sometimes oral evaluation happens. But then it still follows the same method of, sometimes for some universities in Africa, it's still public seminar, then you come to private session. And so the whole thing is, when you understand of course, generally you should have asked your seniors what are the things, and sometimes you get to understand a feel of what to expect. So that gives you a very good way to mentally prepare for it, and what are the expectations that are expected of you, right? So these are the things you need to first of all have at the back of your mind. Yeah. So, but then of course, it's a rite of passage. So why the VIVA exists beyond evaluation? That's a question. That's a question. Why because usually those theses are being sent to examiners. Sometimes last month I got a thesis examination from a candidate, a PhD thesis exam of a candidate from the University of South Africa. And yeah, I'm expected to to read the thesis, very bulky document, and provide a very, detailed feedback on X and Y and all, and that's quite a lot of things. Now, obviously, they will have sent it for another person, a professor possibly in South Africa. Now, the two reports will be compiled and sent before the VIVA date is fixed. So the question is, why the VIVA date after all those examinations? The VIVA is a conversation between equals, designed to verify originality, your coherence, and contribution to knowledge. They are trying to verify it that way. Yeah, trying to verify how the whole thing happens. It's trying to test, whether the candidate can think aloud, whether the candidate, if the candidate is being criticized, how does the person react, and all of that. So it's more like, the example that is coming to my mind is actually a very bad example. That is how cultists are being initiated. Apologies for that, please. it follows a very, sometimes from what we learn, what we have had anyway those days on campus, how okay, some of them will have to go through a lot of brutal things and all of that, piercing, cuttings and all. Then the person is being appointed and all of that and all of that. And so the whole thing is just, it's a process that I have to really just be mentally prepared, because the moment you finish your PhD, literally, in fact, literally, nobody hardly sit you down or try to create a session for maybe a mentorship or whatever. You are expected at that time to know what to do. All right. And so that is the whole thing. That's why it exists. Because some people ask that question. Of course, in some disciplines, those things, don't still really count as such. All right. So some disciplines, they just do it written, and that's it. So composition and role of the examiners, usually for most, there are internal examiners, and of course there are external examiners. The internal examiners are those within the university setting that so sorry, those within the internal examiners, which are usually faculties within the university that check, after the external examiner is gone, this one stay behind and all. Then of course the external examiner. So, and I learned in some universities, they tend to have other variations. So how do they read and how do they annotate your thesis? Because like I said, just like the example I gave you, the thesis will be sent to the examiner quite some weeks ahead of time. And sometimes some of the professors, usually what happens is your supervisor selects sometimes 3 or 4 prospective examiners for your thesis. And usually there's a lot of clause behind the selection. For some universities, they restrict they restrict it such that the professor must not have any collaboration with, that is like your PhD supervisor. Now the candidate he select to come and examine you must not have any close collaboration with him to avoid bias. Well, for many universities, they don't really bother, and many systems don't really bother about that. And even in Nigeria, that's not really a concern, but some countries actually have those clauses. So that is one. And of course, so usually the usual practice for most actually, both like Africa and Asia, is your supervisor select 3 or 4 examiners, and among the 3 or 4 of those examiners, he sends it to the head of department, which sometimes will modify, sometimes no, forward it to the dean. The dean might modify or not. Then of course forward this to usually that the vice chancellor or deputy vice chancellor's office, and from there it goes. So usually that they select maybe 2 or 1 among them, right? And so usually what the PhD supervisors usually do is they try to do an initial contact. Like I think 2 months ago, a professor from one of the universities in India wrote an email to me, was asking that there's this candidate that will be graduating, will be submitting her thesis by XYZ number of months to come. He doesn't know if I'll be free around those periods. He's planning if he can nominate me to be one of the examiners as an external examiner anyway. And so so that sometimes it happens that way. Because maybe sometimes there's the supervisor is trying to help the candidate to really just finish ahead of time. All right. So most of the time, your supervisor, among the number of people he selected or she selected, he will get to know which among them has eventually been selected. And sometimes they will even tell you who is the examiner. Sometimes they will tell you, he will tell you. or the system will just tell you. Why for some other time it's like a it's a very close thing. You are not supposed to know anything. You just see the person that day. But whichever way, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really so much make a difference. So because they will mark contradictions, itemize, select, and many form an impression of you before they meet you. Yeah, that's the first thing. They will have known a lot about you before even meeting you. So get that clearly. So you are not telling the person something new. The person, if the person is thorough, like I was in an examination some 2 months ago or so, and I was telling the professor after the examination, I was like, I love the choice of the external examiner, because some of the questions the external examiner was asking, a novice or someone who is not in-depth in that field cannot ask that question. All right. So there are people who are very knowledgeable, so you can't really twitch or tweak the person. That's just a fact. So you should get that. So what are the common myths about PhD defense that I will need to debunk? Number one, the VIVA is hostile. Don't have that at the back of your mind. If you are here, oh, it's going to be a hell thing. No, it's not. They are not coming there with machete, because that's very important, actually. All right. It's usually rigorous, but of course they will respect you. It's rigorous, that one is sure, but it's not a hostile environment where people are coming. They are coming from somewhere to, examiners know everything. The fact is, they know the field, not every detail of your work. That you should know. Yes, no examiner knows every detail of what. It's not even possible for you to do 3, 4, 5, 6 years work and someone to read it and know everything, every experience you went through. So there are certain things that they will really be learning from you. All right. So you know that. And some of them will be very open with you and, oh, tell us more about this thing and all of that. And so the third myth is memorizing the thesis guarantees success. That's not true. Understanding does. So you should understand that you are not you at that level. You should have a feel. You should be inside the whole work, not just cramming a statement of this thing. Take up. No. Difference between oral examination and oral dialogue, because it happens. We need to understand the two things. And some languages depend. Oral examination tests recall, and oral dialogue test reasoning. That is for those that are doing maybe MBBS, those in the medical field, or even in general, this thing where you have oral examination. You know, in your VIVA, your words should show reflections, not rehearsal. Speak to engage, not to impress. So the examiner looks for intellectual ownership, right? That is a sign that your research lives in you, not just on your paper. Because like I said earlier, the person has seen a lot about you before meeting you. So there's nothing so new you are telling the person. So don't really try, because I've been in defense where you see the candidate, trying to, and before you know, the moment you like I said, especially in Africa, the moment you rub on the emotions of your external examiner or so, and he or she picks you on that, and he just get pissed off with you, it can be very, very messy for you. And that's the fact. And so you would want to get that at the back of your mind. What contribution to knowledge really means in practice. Contribution is not always invention. Please note that. Because sometimes I remember those times when I was doing my postgraduate studies, the question I do think, how was contribution to knowledge? So that means not really. It's maybe clarification of an unsolved debate, or refinement of an existing model, or introduction of a new data that shifts understanding of something. Or sometimes it could just be a traceable progress, an upgrade, an update of what is being known. So you must understand what exactly is your contribution to knowledge. And really, really, that is your banner. That's a fact. That's your banner. That's your badge that you're going to work with. And really keep that in your mind at the end of the day. All right. So like I said, this I was invited for, you know. So here in academic culture, questioning is polite and slow. In others, it is rapid and direct. Yes, for some times you see the candidate, as the candidate is talking, they are just stopping the person in between. Stop, what did you mean by that? Oh, stop, what did you mean by that? Okay, well, it's like, you know, so just get that and know the culture and just prepare your mind for it. Don't forget, like I said, it's not host, it's rigorous. Northern Europe values brevity, you know. They want to see that, yeah, you know, you are confident. Whilst people from the down south, you know, they like the debate to continue. They want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. I remember one of the examinations, PhD examinations I attended. Oh my God. One of the examiners picked up on a sentence that the candidate wrote, and the person, it was a female professor. She was just asking. I was really scared. I then, you know, I was hoping that I hope eventually this person, they eventually got to her like, no. She's not so, because she's not so sure. The person was explained. The person was trying to give stories, and he said, no story I'm looking for. I want to understand, what did you read? What informed you? And all of the, you know, it was where some African and Asian places, they prize humility and respect above assertiveness. So you should get that clearly. So you don't come and you are trying to, yeah, I did a groundbreaking thing. If you are doing such kind of things in Europe and some parts of you know, you could escape that. They would like that you being assertive. While if you are in Africa and Asia, you would want to be very diplomatic. Somebody will say, is this part of the discussion? This is as important as the technicality of what you are saying. So your tone, substance, your awareness, excuse me. Yeah, awareness of some of those things will prevent a lot of misinterpretation about confidence and arrogance, silence and ignorance, like I said earlier. So you should understand those dynamics and just really play along. It's a dating, so you make it great. The VIVA is a rite of passage, like I said. It just marks the moment a researcher joins the scholarly community as a peer or as a colleague. It closes the session of guided studies and opens the life of independent query. Because like I said, the moment you finish your PhD, in fact, most often than not, you'll be introducing yourself as Dr. So and so. With due respect to all kinds of ways now that people award PhDs, you know, the fact still remains. A person who really goes through PhD is a matter of time. That's why you see some people, oh, I also have, initially, let me digress a little. Initially, you know, you see a lot of people with doctor everywhere. Everybody likes the doctorate. And initially, it was the era of honorary. Everybody, you know, there's nothing wrong in honorary. In fact, I think in the last 2 years, I declined 2 invitations to be awarded honorary doctorate. And somebody asked why. Because I just felt I wasn't legible for that. Legible means I don't really feel qualified. So, and I'm saying it sincerely because, I mean, yeah, of course, later on I got to check some of those things. But the real honorary doctorate is actually given to people because, of course, me, I'm in the academia. So honorary doctorate is okay, but it's not, nobody is going to count honorary doctorate in your assessment and all of that, especially in academia. So, but the point is, the honorary doctorate is given to usually people in public sector and the rest, or in business, whatever, who have done significant contributions to education and all of that. And it's just a very glaring thing. It's not where I know places now, I can mention places in some parts where you will go, you don't pay money, they will give you the honorary doctorate, do ceremony for you and all of that. So that initially it used to be like that. But this period now, we have entered an era where lots of quacks PhDs are just the senior professors, I mean, that are here will know that way better than I do, right? You see a lot of people that are just having PhDs now. How I also did my PhD. I also did my PhD. And most of the time, that PhD, that's the last time you hear about the person. Okay, you ask the person, what did you do? Okay, let's check your work. What did you publish? No publication, but the person has a PhD. 2 years down the line, no publication, but the person has done a PhD. 3 years, sometimes that's even the end. The person has finished it. And you'll be writing the PhD at the end of the person. And the person, sometimes you see the confidence talking on media and everywhere. When you check the scholarly contribution of the person, zero. So that's a discussion for another day. So why does VIVA happens? The VIVA is not only an academic validation, it's a symbolic handover of intellectual responsibility. That is, now you are a philosopher. Now you could philosophize. In your bachelor's, you went through the rudimentary basics understanding of how research happens. In your during your what do you call it? During your master's, you were expected to master a particular method. And of course, by your PhD, you are supposed to be a philosopher. You are supposed to know exactly how to come up with ideas, how to conceptualize, how to look at works, and how to think, how to reason, how to come up with research hypotheses, and all of that. And once that doesn't happen, it shows literally in the whole of your career. So really get ready for that, right? So next section, we're going to preparing strategically. How do you prepare? How do you prepare? Before preparation, long before submission, preparation actually begins and starts not when you finish. Every claim you make should already have its defense in your key summaries, a notebook of several questions that you did. Now we have a lot of digital ways of writing notes, so there's little stress on that. Your doubts, where are your possible doubts? Where are your reviewers' comments? That is the comment you got from the external examiner before the VIVA did. Because usually when they come, those are the places they are going to start from. Notes, usually, actually, those are the places, they usually ask a series of questions. Those questions is what are going to be form of your discussion that day. So understand the exact answers to those questions, right? These notes are revising before your research problem and hypothesis. You want to read your research questions as for the first time. Can you still explain why it mattered? That is the whole idea, why you did what you did. A strong VIVA begins with conviction in the question itself, because that is going to be your fueling point. That's going to be like, yeah, you want to start from there, because was it in I think that should be in August or so. I was out of the country and I was asked to chair a preparatory mock defense preparation for some postgraduate students, and that activity lasted for about a whole week. And sometimes on one candidate, because I was chairing the session, so sometimes we could take up to 1 hour, 2 hours on a single candidate. And so at the end, the comment I kept passing was the thing is, people should feel your problem. Like you should, because the research question, the research problem is actually like the burning reason why you did the research in the first place. So if you didn't really convince, if you are not, maybe even during the public presentation or whatever, if you didn't really present the problem, like if you follow this presentation now, I mean, this lecture I'm delivering, you would understand that the way I started, the first section, what I tried to do in the first session was to establish why preparation is important. And now we are looking at how the preparation is being done. So based on how I made the presentation in the first section, everybody, even if you are sleeping and you are dozing in this Saturday morning that we're here, at some point, if you open your eyes and listen, or you were, you will want to really get, okay, what's the next thing to be talked about? So your research problem, why you did, your hypothesis, where they came from, when you can, whether you can defend your why and your how and what. These are the things you want to really take note. Creating a question bank helps you a lot. After finishing it, thesis, list kinds of questions, concept, technical, reflective questions that could be. What theory shaped this decision, shaped you? Why was this method chosen? Those are reflective questions like, what did this result teach you? By the end, you will own a self-made mock VIVA for your entire thesis, and you'll be fully ready for it. Those of you that have followed me on LinkedIn, you must have seen where I drop a series of So apologies, please. I don't know. Am I audible now? The network has just been going off and on its own anyway. So apologies for that, please. Am I audible and is my screen on now? Hello? Let me know if my screen is on and if I'm audible, please. All right. So thank you. So apologies for the network just glitched. So you check your tables, you ensure that there is consistency in your table and their description, right? Simplify complex sections without losing precision. You want to rehearse how to explain most of the technical ideas of your work. That is when you are rehearsing now. You want to make it clear. You should the Viva actually is clarity. You don't try to make things so complicated or try to prove you are an expert. Like I said, usually the people that are selected for your Viva are people who are experts in your field. So they are trying to test you. You are not the one testing them. Those are psychology. So key reference sections are, the most influential papers that you've read that formed your hypothesis. Because sometimes when you form the basis, usually most research gaps are gotten from papers, of course. So you will want to, sometimes you can be surprised, one of your examiner may pick up on that paper and begin to drill you on that. So some of the maybe top 5 or top 10 question research papers that form the bedrock of your work, you will want to get familiar with that, right? To know how to be very conversant with your field. So summarizing your thesis in 1 page or 1 minute. Sometimes after this thing, they could ask you 1-page summary document, or before that, you could also do it yourself. This gives you a very mental clarity on how to just frame your mind, so you don't get, so your flow, your logical flow becomes very, very precise, right? Verbal explanation of the figures and tables. You would want to see each sentence, 1-2 sentence on quick explanation of each of the key figures, right? Shows, you know, what it shows, why it matters. Same thing with your tables. You don't just be reading captions and all. No, your visuals are very important, because the moment somebody sees your visual, it gives an impression, right? In our case, you have figures, you have bar chart, and the rest. So you would want to really get those very, very clear. Mock defense. Invite sometimes your colleagues or mentors to come and just make this presentation. And it's very, very important, actually. Like I remember one of my professors then, and I was out of the country, he was preparing for his professorial this thing, and it was a presentation he need to make. Most, I think it's only in Africa and some countries that you can grow to the rank of becoming a professor without being interviewed or orally, you know, and all of that. It just goes through upper and 3 examiners, and that's it. For most countries, the professor, you want to come and really make a presentation before a panel, whether you are eligible to be a professor and all of that. So he was preparing for his, and he has to call, you know, please come and sit, listen to my presentation, and all of that, and all of that. So every academic goes through that, right? So you also get your colleagues. Don't just invite your cheerleaders who will come and say, yeah, you are doing great, and you know, you are what do you call it? You are doing great. No. That's not what you are looking for at that point, right? That's not what you're looking for at that point. What you're looking for at that point is people who will tell you facts, right? You know, early times, I remember those times when we are doing our undergraduate defense and all of that. We used to literally, you know, dread questions. But over time, you just get used to it, that if you make a presentation and people don't ask questions, you'll be wondering if they even really understood what you said. So encourage questions that probe logic, not just trivia, trivial questions and all. Get people that will beg them, your senior colleagues and all, beg them. Sometimes you can. So that one is usually, it's just you and people around you. So they will be able to pinpoint and tell you what are wrong with what you did, and get to be able to have exact answers to give, right? Examiners seek coherence and scholarly integrity. Understand the examiner's perspective. What will you find convincing? If you are in their position, if you are in their shoes, so understanding from the examiner's perspective is also very, very important, right? Right. Checking for conceptual gaps and assumptions. Look at what are, some are deliberate, some are unnoticed. You want to really identify them. The methods, right? If a method depends on untested premise, get it clear. Yeah, I picked up this one. Really be clear with some of those things. Very, very important. Practicing calm and thinking under questions. Sometimes, if someone could interrupt you midly, you must practice how to pause, how to think. You, as much as possible, ensure that you don't just get emotional. That's the point I'm trying to make. Because the moment you lose and you get emotional and get so titty about it, you lose the grip of the whole thing. And before you know, you are already panicking, you're already shaking and all of that. It rarely happens, even if you are going to be penalized at the end of the day. At best is you'll be given an extended time to go and correct some things. That is just the unwritten law. And so please relax your mind and, so clarifying what you've learned and what you do differently. Prepare to discuss your growth, what mistakes shaped your judgment, what new paths will you explore. You would be authentic about it, right? Literally, they will ask you in all those, literally all, like, tell us, tell us, what happens afterward, What do you see yourself doing in 5 years' time and all of that? So you really want to get those things clearly. Physical preparation, very, very, very important. Very important. I remember the story then. I did my bachelor's and master's at ABU Zaria. And I remember then they told us a story of a young man from physics. Yeah, he wasn't in physics that time. Undergraduate anyway. He was preparing for his for exam, and he went to Sea Never Dry. There's one place they call it Sea Never Dry. I don't know if it's still like that today anyway. But that place is one classroom like that, and people are always there. So that's why they call it Sea Never Dry. So he went there, he stayed for like 3 or so days. He wasn't even coming to the hostel. He was reading and reading and reading. Then the day of the exam, he came early in the morning to say, let him just sleep a little, but before the exam will start by 10 o'clock. He now woke up by 11:30. And the exam was 2 hours. So that means 1 hour, 30 minutes gone. As he opened, as he just stood up from bed with his short knicker and, you know, maybe singlet, and he saw the time, he just picked his pen and started running to the, to the hall immediately, you know. So please sleep well, get hydrated, usually get a glass of water by your side. Psychologically, why do you think they keep a glass of water when dignitaries are sitting there? Because sipping a little water calms you, right? Eat lightly, don't overeat, and the following morning there's already a VIVA going on in your stomach, and that VIVA is my God, the whole enzymes and the whole bacteria, they are having a war, and you are wondering whether is it the toilet you have to rush to, or where are you rushing to? And the whole thing is, you know, that means you'll be doing 2 VIVAs at the same time. One intra VIVA, then the other one, the external one. So please, you eat lightly, you know, do something light, and print your thesis sometimes. Of course, usually you will have a copy of it, and get your notes. Arrive early and try to be very early. And, you know, before entering, try to take a deep breath. Remind yourself you are the world foremost expert on this exact position. And that's the truth. Everywhere in the world, that particular time when you are preparing for your VIVA, you are coming to say something interesting. So you should really be proud about the whole process. The VIVA is not a trap. It's your opportunity to demonstrate mastery born from years of focus. Actually, because you spend 3-4 years of your life doing that thing. So you should really be proud of that moment. So relax, take a good cool, and just, you know, get your mind at peace before arrival. Very, very important. Yeah. So next thing is psychological and logical readiness, which I begin to introduce. Fear fades when the unknown becomes very familiar. Rehearse entering the room, sitting, greeting, speaking. Visualize the sequence of your presentations. Notice your anxiety signals and try to know how to calm yourself down. Calmness, it's really important, because like I said, the moment you really get you miss the whole thing, what happens is you lose balance of the whole thing. You start panicking. So that's why I started to make another example again. When you see some of the politicians, somebody is reading digits of numbers of money, and the person is finding it difficult. The moment you make the first mistake, the second one follows, the next one follows, because psychologically you are thinking, oh, I made the mistake now. And as I'm thinking of correcting it, you are making another one. So just be calm. Just be calm. Just, excuse me, just get a glass of water, get in there with your little water. And then somebody will say, oh, when you go to do, some people think it's arrogant. Let them think whatever they want to think. So please, if you know, one good way actually is getting a little water by your side. It helps you to calm down, right? You just take a little sip before you continue. So before I can also continue, let me just sip a little water, and just give me some few seconds. Yeah, thank you. So as you can see, I just sipped a little water. You can see my voice is a bit clearer. So that's what actually happens, right? So preparation before the defense, check the lightning, the setting. Usually for developed nations and the rest, you won't really bother about most of those things. But please, if you are in Africa and so, please go and make sure that everything is set. the generator and everything. Make sure everything, in case, keep your thesis summary sheet and bottle of water within reach. Tidy up, check to ensure that everything is well set and all. So dressing, if you are coming for some countries, nobody bothers, right? Me, I defended my PhD thesis with what do you call it? Okay. Yeah. So here, dressing is actually very important. Okay, dressing is important. Depends on, like I said, in my case, I defended mine with a t-shirt, so it may be different from yours. All right. So dress and present yourself professionally. If you are in many countries that emphasize dressing, and in fact, not even if they don't emphasize, once you are coming for your VIVA, please dress very responsibly and maturely. As a lady, understand the cultural setting, especially in Africa. I'm telling you very, very, because the moment you give someone just picks up and gets annoyed with you, by perception, first impression, every other thing you'll be doing, the person will just not be interested in it, right? So please take notes. If you are in the north, you are in the south, you are in the east, you are in the west, wherever you are from, understand the culture and really dress nice. And if you want to sell yourself very well, let's say you are schooling in let's say in Katsina State, Federal University, Dusemma, and you have to make your presentation. Nothing stops you from looking for, the traditional dress and the best formal dressing of that place, and just get to sew it and come and look so nice. Dress, moderately. Not that you go and you go and carry a blazer suit and carry one kind of suit that when you to looking, no, just keep your cool, right? So maintaining composure, be composed about it. Unexpected question, learn to listen carefully to respond, not to just reply. Understand, avoid guessing. When you are not so clear, like I said, these people asking you those questions are expert. You can't trick them. So, try to, if I would tell us some tips on what to do if you are not sure of the questions that you are being asked. Difficult question. If a question sounds vague, just say, sir, do you mean? So what you are trying to do at that point is you are buying time. All right. Clarity. You try to, the examiner is valuing your understanding, not just your speed. You are not doing Olympia, what do you call Cowbellpedia. That's not what you are doing, right? So you will want to understand the question properly and tactically buy time. I understand you very well. I'll give you some quick tips. Trade secrets that I do tell people when you have asked difficult questions, because this is one thing that you must come across. Number one, rephrase to own the question. They just ask you a question and it's tough, and you are trying to reason it. Don't dive into fog and just start talking by inspiration. You just start talking, and you are thinking that as you talk, inspiration will flow. Try to frame it in your mind. We just start just to confirm. Are you asking about data pattern, or are you asking the theory behind it? Ma, do you mean this, or what do you mean, or you mean this? What you are doing is that you are buying time and you are allowing your mind to reason, right? Because the moment you restate the question, it becomes your question now. You control your composure, which is what I keep emphasizing. Trade secret true. Identify the layer of inquiry. Every question lives at a level of concept or method or interpretation. So take some seconds and, to understand which one are they really asking. Answering at the wrong level sounds scattered, and answering at the right one will sound very, surgical. For that, very, very important. Number three, anchor in what you know. If the question drifts beyond your data, connect it to something inside your data. Laris, they ask a question and it's beyond what you did. Yeah, just ask, okay, that test wasn't part of my work design, but the mechanism I studied relates closely to it. And based on the relationship is this, and XYZ. So this just makes everyone to understand how grounded you are. Don't drift. You can't even know everything in the first place. Number 3, buy thinking time gracefully. I've talked about it earlier, right? Just pause and smile. That's a thoughtful angle. Let me think through it. So do you mean this? Or if I understand you clearly, this and that, are you referring to X, Y, Z, 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 Z? You may be saying those X, Y, Z may be wrong, but the person is seeing how intelligent you are, and they are judging it also. Like I said, I've also examined candidates, so that's how it happens. Because in the real essence, let me be very sincere with you, no external examiner, because to start with, it's your PhD supervisor that shortlisted them. So the person is not coming. Let me put it, I was trying to just put it, but let me put it very clearly. Your external examiner is not only examining you, he's also examining your supervisor and the whole of your team. And the whole of the supervisory team. So I want you to type on the chat box, all of us. Just type all of us in the chat box, wherever you are joining from. Just type all of us. So the person is examining all of you, examining your supervisor's ability to train a scholar that could reason, that could hypothesize, and all of that, and all of the team. So it's not even just about you, because so get that clearly, and that gives you a very safe zone, angle of thinking. So get that very well. So he's not coming, to fail you is literally a very difficult thing. That's why I said, I don't think because if that failure is to come before it reaches the external examiner, the internal examiners or the mock presentation will have sent the candidate back to the field or so. But the moment it passes through your department and your supervisor has vetted it and the rest, usually it just scales through. Even if it is with crawling and buying of crutches and whatever, anyhow, it will scale through. So please get that clearly. Hunt for the real keyword. Long questions hide the real point. Listen for the noun that carries the main thing, right? And try to focus on it. Turn uncertainty into partnership. If meaning remains vague, invite precision. That is, try to ask the question, would you like me to focus on theoretical link or just the data implication? You are trying to own the question. Conclude with a clear line of clarity. It just gives, because even if you start very foggy or not so clear, try to finish answering your question very nicely, right? Signature principle is a scholar's strength is not in answering everything. It is in refusing to answer blindly, because clarity is courage. So reframe challenging dialogues. When an examiner disagrees, or treat it as conversation, not confrontation. See, that's an interesting point. May I explain how I approached it? No. Just keep quiet. You are dumb. You are this. You are that. Oh, thank you, sir. I will really look at it and all of that. Own your emotions. I'm emphasizing it, especially in Africa. Own your emotion, even Asia. So you don't burst into tears and all of that. Importance of brevity, long answers, drawn ideas. Try to be concise with your description. Align your supervisor with key messages. Before the VIVA, meet your supervisor, your supervisory team to agree on certain central themes or claims. Ask what themes they believe examiners will focus on. Some sensitive answers to some questions, agree with them. So that when they come, when you make a presentation, they will want you are speaking the same language. I was in an external examination the other time where the professor, the supervisor was saying, he doesn't even know what the lady is saying because they had a mock presentation and what he told her to answer this question is not what she's saying. I know what that kind of comment makes. It gives a very bad impression. So agree on sensitive things. Knowing your examiner's research style, study their recent papers, especially if you got to know who is coming. Note their preferred method, tone, and terminologies. How did they start? You know, understand the person. If you happen to be fortunate to know who is coming, understand the evaluation criteria. Sometimes you may be lucky, you may find the whole document of how you'll be assessed, right? So you understand that, and when you are answering questions, you will want to really focus on that, right? So practicing for clarity, not for performance. Rehearse to express ideas clearly, not theoretically. Avoid memorizing speeches. They die under stress. I'm telling you the fact. You will forget everything. So managing fatigue and concentration. Some defense can be very, very lengthy. So that's why I said you will get some small snacks or so. Just don't go dehydrated. Otherwise, your brain will just go on break and leave you alone. And you know you cannot leave you. So both of you will go on that break. So please take your time to get water and well, my mind is saying get Coke somewhere in your pocket. Fine, if that will work, but make sure that you understand yourself very well. Right? A night before, what to do a review, not deep study. Avoid new literature, avoid, just get things decently. Building a quiet and confident mindset. I know my work. Like I said, I'm really be confident about it. Entering the room, walk in as a colleague, not a candidate begging for approval. If you are confident of what you did, you really be confident of it everywhere, right? Look at the examiners as fellow researchers. When you sit, take a deep breath, get it on your mind. This is going to be a long conversation, and I'm here to really tell them I own this work. You are not defending your work. You are only defending your work. So you may just ignore maybe some insult that may come, some bashings that may come. That's different. That's the person's approach of handling things. How do you begin the session? Greet the examiner by name and try to smile. Oh, when you smile back, generally, even if it is the person is frowning, the person will, even if it's just getting calm and just smile, respectively greet them. Sit upright, feet grounded, keep your shoulders visible. Listening closely to opening remarks, set the theme. All right. When invited to speak, greet and just be calm. I'm emphasizing it because I've seen people during defense crying, literally crying. I mean, people with wives, with husbands, with children, literally crying. And it usually starts like this. The person just loses the emotion and that's all. He cannot talk again. I was in one. The person was making the presentation because the person just hung off, like went blank completely, couldn't talk again. And well, for Africa, some people say that's spiritual attack. Well, I don't think that was, for his case, it wasn't any spiritual. It was just the emotion that just clouded the person. Very mature, and also these things happen. Start with brief thanks for their time and guidance. Start your full research title slowly, and in 2 sentences, say what problem you studied and why it matters. Avoid reading. Speak like a conversation, right? Own the whole thing. How to summarize your thesis. Number 1, use the problem, method, result, impact pattern. What's the problem? What method? What result? What impact? Get that very, very clearly. Name your central questions and keep it clearly. Reading body languages of your examiners. Look for their nod. Oh, they are nodding their head. Look when they are doubtful. Look when they look confused, and focus on that to explain it further. Don't just be talking as if you are. No, understand the whole thing. Just like how you see during this presentation, there are times where the network will just glitch, and I'm looking at it from the second screen, and I'm able to know, okay, I've missed it here, then pause and all of that. So that's how these things happen, right? So adjust pacing on their attention. Adjust pacing on their attention, not to your nerves, right? Get to just be looking at them closely as you are making it. Listen carefully before responding. Let examiners finish their sentence. Don't just be interjecting. Structure reply mentally. 1, context. 2, evidence. 3, insight. That's the whole secret, right? Next, ambiguous question. Politely ask, could you please clarify all aspects you want me to focus on? Separate multi-parted questions and answer one piece at a time. Understand how to transition. If I understand you correctly, if I get you correctly, sir, Reframe vague words, significant, novel, be precise with it. Don't go and be talking, sir, this is a groundbreaking work. This is it. They know all that, right? Examples, using examples and evidence, not opinions. Support every claim with a result, a figure, a citation. I think with the data shows, because don't be talking like a politician. It doesn't work, actually. Avoid defending emotion. It's logic, right? So stay grounded when challenged. When the tone, when anger comes in and they are boiling on you and bashing, just calm. Just stay your calm and that's your day. That's just the thing I'm really trying to just emphasize, right? So recognize productive and trivial questions. Some productive questions connect to theory, data, or its implication. Trivial questions that test data or recalling ability. I've seen in examination where somebody will ask, okay, what's the SI unit of this? Well, those are very trivial questions that shouldn't be asked. In case you are being asked and you're not sure, you just check and tell the person, or you just understand those two things and invest fuller explanations in conceptual questions, right? Twitch it and focus. So just keep owning the moment. That's the point I'm trying to reply. Transition between topics smoothly. When you have to make a quick presentation, keep the tone steady while shifting focus. You know, organize transitions by theme, method, result, implication, so that everybody understands the storyline of your work. Next point, and I think this is going to be the last section, defending your thesis. How do you defend? Possible questions if they ask you based on research gap, and it will come. Possible question, what problem were you trying to solve? An excellent response could be previous work established A and B, but left C unresolved. My study focused on C. Brilliant. Why was this question worth asking now? Yeah, it's worth asking now because you know, my data focus on C because it determines whether the current model can predict X accurately. Oh, tell us, how is your gap different from what earlier studies have already covered? Yes, sir, or yes, ma, whatever. The significant of my work lies not in novelty alone, but in my precision. Earlier studies assumed this, my data confirm otherwise, or my data supported it, or my data, whatever. What will happen if no one fills this gap? Some questions will come. This gap limited practical application in this, and addressing it, this current, my research addressed it, and it's going to change the landscape. That's when you are asked questions on explaining research gap. Next, when you are asked questions on methodological decisions, why did you choose the design instead of another? Yeah, the design followed directly from the nature of the question. Quantitative trends require statistical proof, not perceived data. Sometimes you will ask, were ethical standards met thoroughly? Yes, all procedures comply with institutional ethics. We did got approval from this, from that, from that. What were your controls or validated steps? Yeah, validity was ensured through these, through pilot study, through triangulation, and all of that. Just own the moment. That's the point. Next is when you are being asked analytical techniques and tools, why you choose what you did. Why this analytical tool? Yeah, the technique matched both data type and theoretical model. And so the pragmatic tests were justified by normal distribution checks. All right. Okay, cool. Different softwares yield different outcomes. Yeah, different softwares might vary slightly in syntax, but the underlying algorithm remains identical and all of that. So this just gives the whole, everybody's, even people who don't even know the discipline, when they hear the way you are responding, you are making sense. Presenting results with confidence. Question they will ask you, which finding do you consider most important? All right, yeah, my study, there were 3 findings that anchored the study together. They defined this. Or among the results, in my this. How do your results compare with others? Yeah, our pattern diverged from X, a researcher or so, because we control for Y instead of Z. Oh, how robust are these findings? Yeah, the surprise result was this. Now this opens a new line of thought for future work, which opens a new line for translational application and all of that. So next is interpreting your data. Questions about what do those results actually mean? They ask you those kind of questions. Yeah, the trend suggests a feedback mechanism rather than a linear response. The trend suggests this and that. So What are the broader implications of this your work? Tell us. Applied for that. This insight could improve this, could improve that, could improve this. So these are the kind of logical things you might. Number one. Next is showing logical flow between chapters. How did each chapter build towards a final conclusion? Chapter 3 findings inform the variables, refined in chapter 4 to test this, to test that. Tell us about your chapters. Get that clearly. Acknowledgement, especially those in medical field. Did any unexpected factors influence your outcomes and all of that? Tell us what are the main weaknesses of your study? Sample diversity was narrower than ideal, acknowledging this direct and all of. So these are just some few highlights, few examples. There are quite a number of them, right? And these are some of those ones you want to really agree with your supervisor, right? What exactly is new here in this whole of your work? This is the first integrated model combining this. This is the first study that looked at it from this angle, this and that. You will get, because all of those things, when you come to submit your paper for review for publications, you will see meet them with reviewers, right? Linking findings to broader literature. Has anything new emerged since the submission of this your work? Yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. Recent publications have echoed similar directions and they've validated this, the importance of this, my work. In fact, a paper was published in XYZ and all of that. You just own the moment, right? Yeah. Scholarly authority. How will you defend your conclusion to a skeptical audience? Right? So these are some of possible things that you would want to look at. It's quite exhaustive. Dynamics, discrepancies when you're having argument, interruptions and all of that. If you are caught, how do you do? As I was saying, continue from where you stop. Don't be distracted. Maybe as someone is making talk, this professor is talking, another one is talking, another one is talking, and they are just talking, and eventually the chairperson of the thing, okay, you go back, you continue from where you stop. Continue from where exactly you stop. And sometimes you can be smart. If that thing you are saying is the one that is causing the controversy, just move to the next one smartly. Steady breaks. Learn to be composed. Pause a few seconds and be thinking fast and slow, according to Daniel Kahneman's book, Balancing Divergent Views. In many visors, one examiner loves your model, another one will be doubting it. Listen to both, trace each to evidence, and explain it clearly, right? Don't try to be political or too smart, right? Unexpected, classic. An examiner will ask a question. Don't try to manage. Just, yeah, that's outside my design, but I will outline how I'll manage it if it comes. Managing the energy, the room energy flows. It follows you. If you raise your tone or speed tension and you are shouting and everything, it just make the whole place look as if there's one fighting or argument that is going on. You are not proving thoroughness. You are only demonstrating intellectual steadiness. So just calm, pause before answering. I keep talking about it earlier. It's a long day, so grace under pressure. I understand. Here's how I will address this. If you encounter this, tell us how you are going to do. Just own the moment. I keep repeating, speaking with structure. There are 3 parts to this question. In the first one, I will address this. In the second one is this and all. Just breaking it down, and that repetition of the question helps you to own it, knowing when to stop. A strong answer ends before fatigue begins. Stop once your main idea and evidence are clear. Don't overtalk, because the more you talk, the more you expose yourself for more questions. Be concise with your answers. The winding down, near the end, soften your tone. Thank them naturally, not formally rehearsed. Just flow around it. You ask to excuse them and all of that. Learn how to exit. Learn how to, move. Very, very important. And as we finally conclude, after your VIVA, understand how outcomes happen. The VIVA ends, stillness, step aside, breathe, and all of that. Just relax and move. The outcome, whether it's minor corrections or revisions or resubmission, see it as, take it professional, right? Underline its requests, rewrite them in your own words, and ensure that you really understood it, right? And address each question's corrections very, very professionally. And major revisions sometimes happens. Large corrections require structure, and break them into manageable clusters. Consult your supervisors early and just start. Don't take a long break and say, I'll go and take a long break and rest, then come back. No, just focus and you keep the momentum after the VIVA and finish up everything to you finally submit. The final submission, check every table reference and ensure that everything is correct, right? Proofread. Now, most supervisors or professors are online, so they can just make the corrections online and all of that. That helps you. After years of work, I can tell you this for sure. There is a fatigue that happens. Literally every PhD scholar goes through, including me when I did mine. Because you've been under a serious pressure, deadline, timelines, and all. So your body is used to a very rigorous working style. Then suddenly everything just disappears. You are free. That can cause depression to some people because you'll be wondering what next to do. That's why some people now start going into all kinds of indulgence because a vacuum will just happen to you. So understand the transition. Learn to try to prepare after my VIVA. I'm going to on a break. I'm going here. I'm going there. Get somewhere. Once you stay within that environment, as much as possible, try to leave the place. Try to just go somewhere and get into something. Maybe even if it's going for a holiday or going for one of your relatives' house or going for whatever, just get something to get into, get involved in, right? And of course, like I said, don't go and sleep. You have done 2-3 years work. Get all your work published. Don't remain and just because as science evolved every now and then, so get to publish your work very quickly and write it, get it published. Don't pile up your work and all of that, right? So passing the knowledge, share what process taught with earlier researchers, and try to communicate your science. Beyond the VIVA, a doctorate confirms capability. What follows define your character, right? Mentor, question, teach, and try to help others. Examiners, carry that tone and just carry everyone along in the whole thing. And after your work, tell your story. The fact was, in fact, for me, I think one of the things that I had been in LinkedIn since 2014. I just joined one time like that, I think, and stayed. It was after my PhD. I think I just write about my story during my because I did VIVA when I did my thesis seminar. It took 1 whole year before I did before I did the VIVA. And after the VIVA, I did another 1 whole year before the convocation. So there was literally 2 full years that everything was just quiet. I wasn't doing anything. Everywhere was quiet. That's a story for another day. So when I did that, I wrote the story on LinkedIn. And I think that was one of the things that made me to start writing on LinkedIn, because it went so viral everywhere. I was wondering, and that was how the whole journey started. That was so. It's a nice time. Thank you for staying true. I think we'll go to questions and answers. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Such a magnificent presentation, an insightful presentation from the academic maestro himself, Dr. Wadzani Dauda. Thank you so much, sir. Please, if you have been inspired and you've been enlightened by this presentation, kindly do well to go on the live chat and type, "Thank you, Dr. Wadzani." Thank you so much, sir. So right away, we'll be moving to a session of question and answer. But before then, I would like to bring up the Secretary of the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave, Miss Grace, to take a brief period of announcement. So while she will be doing that, please do well to drop your questions on the live chat. So do well to arrange your questions, and we are going to be reading them out from the live chat, and Dr. Wadzani will be here to respond to all your questions. Thank you so much. Miss Grace, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Silas. And to the esteemed scholars who joined us on today's lecture, thank you so very much. We sincerely appreciate your patience and your participation in today's class. And to the great scholar and our facilitator for today, that is the speaker, Dr. Wadzani Dauda. Thank you so much for that enlightening lecture. Moving on, we'll be having our announcements. The Academic and Grants Writing Enclave is an organization that runs a whole lot of things. Aside the keynote lecture, which we have monthly, we run different academies. Like the Academic Writers Academy, and right now we are accepting registration for cohort 6. The Academic Writers Academy cohort C is a 6 weeks training that teaches practical skills for students, early career researchers, and faculty members. In fact, even industry researchers, professional writers, editors, all those who want to write and publish in high impact journals, the Academic Writers Academy is for you. And cohort 6 registration is currently ongoing. We also have the Grants Writers Academy, which we concluded just months ago. The Grants Writers Academy by the Academic and Grants Writing Enclave is a 3-week certification course for researchers, non-profit organizations, consultants, and entrepreneurs. It's focused on national and international grants requirements. If you want to secure grants for your research work and even your non-profit organization, and you're wondering how to go about it, the Grants Writers Academy got you covered, and we're accepting registration for cohort 3 already. Then we have Data Analysis Academy. This is a course on data mastery from collection to analysis, and registration for cohort 4 is currently ongoing also. Then we have the Research Innovation Academy. Just some days back, we registered over 20 scholars aside those we have already in class. Just in 2 days' time, over 20 scholars registered for this course, Research Innovation Academy. And yes, cohort 2 will be starting this October. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Of course, you see the facilitator, that is the speaker we have today, Dr. Dauda Wadzani. He is one of the facilitators we'll be having in the Research Innovation Academy, alongside other professors and different academic people in different fields. It is actually for those who wants to foster unconventional thinking and interdisciplinary collaboration. It also empowers researchers to turn ideas into tangible income. Cohort 2 is starting October 31st. I believe the link will be dropped in the chat box. Hurry and register. You don't want to miss it. And also we have the Trade Secrets to Scopus publication. The speaker for today, his book, Trade Secrets to Scopus publication. The reviews from this book are mind-blowing. The reviews from this book are mind-blowing. You should read. You should get one and read. We have the online copy, the soft copy, which is available for 10,500 naira, and even the hard copy is also available. The link to purchase your copy will be dropped in the chat box. Kindly get yours. And then the Forge. The Forge was actually established under age to provide a targeted, structured, and confidential response to the silent crisis that many master students, PhD candidates, and early career researchers are facing in today's academic world. It's an inner cycle for academic people and even young researchers, PhD holders who want to be mentored directly by Dr. Wadzani Dauda. Thousands of people have joined the Forge community. Be part of them today. The link to join the Forge community will be dropped in the chat box. Thank you so much for staying through. We'll be taking question and answer now. Over to the moderator.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Grace. So right about now, we'll be moving into a session of question and answers. We'll be moving into a session of question and answers. So I would like you to go on the live chat on YouTube and type your questions. Please, before you type your questions, just label it with question and then you can put a colon and then you type your question so that we would be able to distinguish it from the pool of messages that are there. So just like you've heard, registrations for academies are ongoing, especially the Research Innovation Academy, which is coming up on the 31st of this month. So we have very limited time for those who are still interested in registering. All relevant links are going to be dropped on the live chat. Thank you so much. And we also have a feedback form for those of us who joined the call. Please do well to fill the feedback form. So I would be taking note of questions now so that Dr. Wadzani can respond to the questions. So Dr. Sir, please, I don't know, how many questions would you like to take at a time so we could compile them in that sequence?
Yeah, thank you. I think we can go maybe 2 at a time. Yeah.
All right, sir. So, all right, I have a first question from Jonathan Yusuf. He says, please, doctor, how do you deal with a very volatile and angry examiner? How do you deal with a very volatile and angry examiner? And next question. Okay, I think that's the first question we have. Please do well to drop your questions on the chat. How do you deal with a very volatile and angry examiner? I think that's the first question we have for now. So I don't know if you could respond to that, sir.
Okay, yeah, thank you. But before I think I was supposed to say it. At some point, of course, I was really rushing because I was trying to beat time. I fixed the time in my mind when I'm going to finish. So I have this gift. Some of the materials I use in preparing this presentation, I'll be giving it to the secretary, which should be sending to. So just fill the feedback form. I'll send this document was preparing for the VIVA, a guide for doctoral student by Professor Ingrid and Dr. Gil Hudson. So it's a very important document, about 8 pages, very nice, and you will learn a lot from it. So just get to fill the feedback form, you will receive this document. So yeah, then yes. So on answering questions, volatile. If I go by a word, there's only one way to handle volatile things. It's either you will get to the source of the volatility, what's causing the thing to be volatile, or you adjust how you absorb the volatility yourself. But in this case, the one you have control over is you adjust how you control it. So like I said, that's why I keep talking about being calm and all. What, I remember in one of my, I think it's during one of my internal examinations during my master's that time. My friend who followed me, and I think they were asking some questions, and there were several professors in there and all that. I think there was a particular professor who they asked a question and I answered, and he asked again, he answered. The man shouted at the top of his voice, like literally at the top of his voice. If you think something is happening. In fact, my friend said he went outside and was just praying for me because he was feeling they are not going to roast me that day. The man shouted, he hit the table 2-3 times, and he called my name. He said, Wadzani, if you didn't answer this question, I will. You see how there's one thing he threatened me to do that time. I think the first thing I did was, even me, when he was shouting, I was wondering, but I understood that if I become emotional about it, so the way I interpreted it, and after that, I used to interpret events. You just interpret it as, oh, that means this man is really interested in this, my work, that his emotions have gone so high like that. So on the moment, just smile, just keep it calm. Sometimes the smile can be irritating anyway. So just keep your cool. Say thank you, sir, or thank you, ma. If I understand you clearly and all of that, just own the moment. That's the point. You just know how to play your game. Once the person is, in fact, sometimes even if the person is praising you too much, oh, your work is this. Like during one of my degree examinations, it was the external examiner that put me into problem, because the person came and the first thing the person said was that, oh my God, your work was so excellent and all of that. And my goodness, that was a problem. One of the persons in the panel said, how can you make this kind of comment on a candidate? And they were all firing questions. So whether it is so much praise or so much criticism, just own the moment. Yeah, pick a glass of water, respectfully answer, and don't enter into the vapor and get no. So I think that's just, sincerely, that's just the way out. There's no other any shortcut way about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So before we continue with the question and answers, please, if you're on the call on YouTube, do well to give this video a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do well to do that. So going forward, we'll be taking a set of 2 more questions. I have a question from Khadijat, 2 questions from Khadijat. Khadijat Akarumi, apologies if I don't get the pronunciation of your name well. Please, how can I explain my research gap? Am I to mention literature gap, methodological gap, each separately? I come again. Please, how can I explain my research gap? Am I to mention literature gap, methodological gap, each separately? And she's also asking, what are the types of research gap we are expected to explain during our defense? Now, the second question from Ayodeji Michael. He says, sir, are we allowed to go for VIVA with slides or open the work, or we should memorize our presentation? Are we allowed to go for VIVA with slides or open the work, or we should memorize our presentations? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Well, on the first question about research gap, it depends on the kind of research gap you focused on. I mean, and there are principally 5 of them, right? Okay, of course, that was the ones that are currently on digital space everywhere. It was published by, forgotten the name of this author. He was the one that propounded the 7 types of research gap. It's everywhere on LinkedIn, on Google, and everything. So, but I think 3-4 years ago, I went through that and I realized there were a lot of gaps that was not captured. So I expanded it to 25 gaps. For those of you who have gone through any of, especially the academic writers training, you must have been where I talked about all of those 25 gaps. And I'm currently working on a book specifically on the 25 types of research gaps. So that was just an expanded list of these gaps. But then in those lists, there is usually for your thesis, maybe it's 1 or 2 that you did. So the ones you did is the one you are going to talk about, not the ones you didn't do. All right. And you are not really going to be saying in your examination, okay, this is a methodological gap and all of that. You are the one that knows the definitions and terminologies, except sometimes if the examiner knows those gaps and asks you, so which gap are you filling and all of that. So it depends on what exactly you did. Then on carrying notes or so during your VIVA, it depends on quite a number of things. As far as I'm concerned, nobody is expecting you to, they are not testing your memory, actually, right? They are not testing your memory. They are testing, do you own this work? Can you, what do you call it? Or did somebody did this thing to you? Can you go outside and say, I'm a philosopher? Did you really? They are testing how, like I said in the presentation, not your obedience as a student, but your scholarly expertise as a scholar. So nobody, as far as I'm concerned, holding a note is not a crime. In fact, me, the whole of my this thing, I have a note. I had a note by my side. Okay, just not exhaustive thing, but just a 1-page thing beside me that, you know, will help me recall some things. And I'm not sure there's anywhere you will go. Anyway, I can't say I'm not sure because there are strange things that happen in various universities. You know, some of the, I don't know if some of you, one of the time when I was invited to give a talk at the Doctoral Academy of Nigeria, that was just, and I talked extensively about that. You know, funny things can happen. I won't be surprised if somebody would ban someone from carrying any paper. Just go yourself. But I don't think that will be rare. But of course, it will happen. So get a paper, concise summary of the thing. Then your own thesis also, you go with the one you mark sections so that at a glance, you can pick it and understand. It's an open-ended examination. So I don't think there's any crime. I did it anyway, so I'm just telling you. Except if it is banned in your domain or your kingdom, then that's a different thing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So I'll be taking two more questions. The first question from Sela Christine. Sela Christine, how do you craft and deliver a powerful statement of problem? How do you craft and deliver a powerful statement of the problem? And then next, from this name, Sir Ondo Kwang. My apologies if I missed your name. It says, does the external examiner have the right to insist that a methodology adapted in the course of a research is wrong? Does the external examiner have the right to insist that a methodology adopted during the course of a research is wrong? I don't know if you got the question, sir.
I don't think I did. I'm trying to see if I can see it on the comments so that I can pick it myself. Where is that question from now, sir?
Okay. The first one. How do you craft and deliver a powerful problem statement? How do you craft and deliver a powerful problem statement?
Okay, the next one is what?
The next one, does the external examiner have the right to insist that a methodology adopted in the course of a research is wrong?
Yes. Well, the thing, especially for the first question now, you see, answering all of those things, it's a number of, because see, like I said, the first thing is, number one, for every statement or problem statement, the first thing is the why, right? Then, so you will want to start before you go to so what, and what did you do about it? Then, of course, what has changed? Number one, classical case, like your statement or problem could mean anything, right? Maybe that is in the thesis. I'm just being generic now, giving a general example. Maybe you are working on rice blast disease, for instance, now, right? So you want to, and the examiner on the panel, they ask you explain your statement of problem. The first thing is why now? That's how you start it. Yeah, you know, rice blast is one of the most destructive diseases that is affecting global security, with over 60% yield loss, the major reason. Why? Next is you will go to what is missing. And all right, and despite that, there are several resistant genes have been cloned, and different things have been explored about that and all of that. You are explaining what is missing, and that's the gap, right? Then next is you are defining so what. That's in the statement problem rule now. Yeah, and you know, without a clear insight into this and that and that and this and that, then you now talk about what you did without doing this, without doing that, without doing this. the farmers keep losing, and these farmers keep losing, and the economic value and all of that. That is your what? So what? Then the next thing you go into what you did, right? Because already you are presenting now. Yeah, okay, in my thesis, in my project, I applied this, I applied this, I applied that. Then you tell us, then what happened? What did you find out? And we found out that this. Let me rehearse it again. How you put it in a simple paragraph. This thing I just said. Oh, tell us your treatment problem. Let's say you work on rice blast disease. I'm using rice blast because that's the current project I just finished. So I'm currently on. So it's easy for me to relate it that way. Yeah, let's say I'm to defend it as a thesis now. Yeah, rice blast is actually a very important disease, causing over 60% yield loss annually. And although there have been different genetic resistance has been explored in XYZ, previous studies have focused mainly on XYZ, overlooking XYZ. And without looking at this missing XYZ, this breeding for resistance and all of the things will be inconsistent. And so what I did in my thesis was to compare this to look at this. Then the findings from my thesis have just contributed or unraveled or showed that this. I don't know if it makes sense to you anyway, the person that asked the question. If it makes sense, just type "makes sense," or whoever is on the call. If it makes sense the way I put, that's just how to, excuse me, to put it. Yeah, I think the moderator, right?
All right, thank you so much, sir. I think that was clearly stated. So the final question.
Sorry, the second question about can the external examiner say and all of that. That's where I said sometimes it happens because the external examiner is actually, like the name implies, that's the person vetting whether you merit the work. And as far as I'm concerned, if you were properly supervised or you properly follow the science, nobody should be able to come and say the whole thing was, the method they followed was wrong, was a wrong method. Because that means your supervisor also doesn't know it. Nobody in your supervisory team knows it, which happens rarely, actually. But of course, sometimes I've had instances like that where all kinds of things will come. So usually, the best way, if you are in that position, you will want to, let's say you get it ahead of time. There are different methods to use this thing, or you use this method. Just try to find a paper where you got that, because obviously, I'm not sure you woke up from the dream. You just dream and you woke up and you saw a method in your dream and you wrote it somewhere, then you came out and executed it. Even if it happens like that, at least you Google a paper that supports it. So during that short period, you say, yeah, you saw this paper and they did this and the work was published in this journal. Oh, okay, tell us, show us the journal. You show it and you will silence no matter what the person, you silence the person. Because in research, in academia, the moment you are able to come up with a paper that supports what you did. And really, this is important because I just remember, like when I did my PhD then, we used to have a young lady then just came newly, and she was then my supervisor they were deciding on what topic and everything. So for eventually after like 1 year or so, she came up that this is the topic they've agreed. And she was to make she now made a lab presentation. So after the lab presentation, of course, as a culture, I didn't want to talk about it publicly. So after the presentation, I met her. I said, this thing you are trying to do, you are proposing, I Googled it in her presence in Google Scholar, showed her 2-3 very similar papers on that work. I said, this is this year. This thesis, eventually, when you be defending this thesis in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And now, where you just form your topic, I just Google and I showed you several related papers on the outputs of, on this your whatever. And she said, no, they have agreed with supervisor and that the professor, and that's also my professor anyway. They've agreed and that's how it's going to be and all of that and all of that. So one of the occasions, I think on a different day, I tried to bring it up to my professor. Like, sir, I don't know if this lady's work can be looked in a little bit. It was like, no, that's what she's going to do and all of that and all of that. Because I just respected myself and kept quiet. 3 years down the line, 2 years down the line. No, 3 years. It was 3 years. Then I've left because I've come already. So one of the PhD student that was there also, where we were doing that discussion, he called me then and he said, this lady just did her post-field presentation, and the whole thesis was cancelled. She was asked to start all over again because one of the professors just Googled it and saw related work exactly with what I showed her. That, at this time around, that thing she was doing that defense in April. In March, a paper was published with exact same crop, the same methodology, literally everything, and it was just published a month earlier. So the professor that raised that observation showed it, and they have to send that back to square one. So please, you would want to really make sure that you are following the papers, you are following the literature, and all. So I think that's just what I was saying. That. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So,
all right, sorry, I just saw a comment, and yes. I think I need to give that's I don't know if anyway I'm allowed to say it at this point, but anyway, I just saw Professor Poiko's comment, and that's someone I will respect so much in age. So please, I don't know if Prof is on the call. You may want to make a comment. I think I just saw a comment by him. So please, are you on the call, sir? Is Prof on the call? Let me see. So please, the moderator, continue with the rest. I'll try to see how to send the link to Prof to just join. Okay, yeah.
Thank you so much. So while we try to get Professor Paiko on the call to shed more light on some certain things, I would like to bring up Professor Josiah Owolabi for the vote of thanks and remarks. Professor, please, you're welcome, and you can have the mic.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, good day, everyone. You will agree with me that we have just had a very insightful presentation. Our speaker for today, I have formed this opinion about him, that anything, after listening to him at various fora, he has made presentation where I was there physically in my university. I have listened to him over time during trainings and webinars like this. And what I know is whatever he wants to do, it takes time to. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Talking about LinkedIn, WhatsApp.
Hello? Sorry.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that our presenter is known for excellence in his presentations. And we have just had one of these presentations on how to prepare for a PhD defense. He has not just spoken to us, actually. He has spoken with us. He has shared experiences beyond just mastering the content of your work. He has shared with us that first impression matters. that we should be moderate in addressing. He has shared with us the need for confidence and the fact that we have to be conscious that we are not alone in it. Our supervisors are also involved. We should smile. We should not just react blindly. We should understand what we are reacting on. And he has given us some strategies that is better you have some interaction ahead of the time with your supervisor and mentor on some sensitive issues so that you'll be on the same page. He has shared with us, of course, what many of us may not be thinking about, that you should avoid being dehydrated. And whatever you are saying, back it up with data. That's how researchers speak. Researchers don't speak based on emotion. And of course, he has advised that when you are done with the defense, don't go and sleep and be parading yourself and this, make your corrections until you are done. And of course, make sure you publish from your work before other people run ahead of you to roll out similar publications in your study area. So we really, really appreciate our guest speaker, our presenter. And of course, too, the organizers of the program for being very, very thoughtful and coming up with a topic like this, which is quite timely, quite timely. And all of us who are here, I want to congratulate us and also appreciate us for coming. But one thing is sure, that we are all living here better than we have come. Whether you are a graduate student preparing for defense, or you have defended, or you are a professor, supervisor, and mentor. Yes, for graduate students, you can live with confidence, fully armed to make a good presentation and a good defense of your work. Those of us who have defended, automatically, whether you like it or not, people will run to you to ask questions. How is it done? How is it done? After going through this session, definitely you'll be able to, you are at a better position to offer help to such people. Those who are supervisors, mentors, who are going to present students. Of course, like the presenter said, it's all of us. You are also being examined. And I believe people will form an opinion of you as a supervisor, partly based on partly based on the performance of your students. So there's no doubt that values have been added to every one of us in the course of this presentation. So once again, thank you, Dr. Dauda, for pouring so much into us during this session, and for being magnanimous enough to even share with us the material you used to prepare this. Thank you, everybody, and God bless.
Thank you so much, sir. That was Professor Mutaya Ola.
I appreciate, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. We've met, like he said, at the university then, and it's been someone I respect so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Prof. Josiah Olabi. That was a very wonderful remark. Going forward, we would like to bring up someone very special to us at the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave. This is another academic maestro, a scholar par excellence. He's in the person of Professor Mohammed Aliyu Paiku. He's the Vice Chancellor currently of Abdul Qadir Kure University, Mina, and is currently also, interestingly, the president of AGIS, the Academic and Grant Writing Enclave Society. You can see him looking very vibrant and looking very good this morning. You're welcome, Prof. Thank you so much. Please, you can have the mic, sir.
Thank you very much, all my very good support team in the academic and grant writing Enclave Society. A very, very warm and good afternoon, Dr. Wadzani. I don't expect less. You know, your presentation was just marvelous. I came here right from 10:30 and I have been following all the conversation like I promised, whatever it is that has been scheduled for ages for the rest of the year, very excellently too. We want to follow and see what our predecessors have planned. And of course, Dr. Wadzani is always very marvelous. So thank you very much for the topic. Very interesting. You know, between FUT Mina, Abdulkadir Kure University Mina, the other universities around here, we have so many students who are about to do their VIVA. And they asked me, I said, yes, this is a very pertinent time. You can listen to this. So I saw a lot of them in the platform. At some point, we had over 350, participants, which is quite very, very big if you consider the way we do, virtual presentations in Nigeria. If you get 100 people to listen to you, it means it's excellent. If you get above 200, 300, marvelous. And this is exactly what we saw, since 11 o'clock this morning. And so I didn't expect less because I know the capacity of Dr. Wadzani, soon to become a professor himself, a very excellent scholar, and he touches on very topical issues. And you could see how he dissected everything from what you need to do before VIVA, right through the VIVA itself, the setting, and then, of course, what to do immediately after. The person who did the vote of thanks also did a very, very good work by appreciating Dr. Wadzani quite very eloquently and quite very, very handsomely. I cannot do enough. I just said I have to lend my own voice. However, one or two questions, I believe Dr. Wadzani mentioned them, but one or two questions that some of the participants asked, I felt I should just do a little polish, since we're talking about Nigeria. Right now on my desk, I have about 2 PhDs, one that I have been invited to go for, one from University of Lagos, and of course, one from Federal University of Technology, Mina, which will take place on 29th of this month. And very, very interesting topics that people have covered. Essentially, what I wanted to speak about just in a minute or two, when we talk about the whole essence of your VIVA, first of all, like Dr. Wadzani has said, we are examining what you did. We want to know that you did it. We also want to know that there was a reason for you to have spent 3, 4, or 5 years of your time to examine this problem, to be able to come up with solutions and how that solution is going to impact society. It will be very, very redundant for you to have someone present very beautiful thesis, and on cross-examination, you see that this person did not actually do the work. So the whole essence of Viva Voce, as we call it, Viva Voce, using the living voice, that is a defense of a thesis that is done via using your own voice, via a cross-examination of the person who carried out that work, which is also essentially trying to put your own supervisory team also on the spot. So the Viva Voce, like Dr. Wadzani said, is not only the measure of the integrity and the ability of the person who did the doctoral work or master's work, it is also trying to examine the character, the capacity of the examining team. Did they have a very good team to be able to study that particular work? Did the team support the person doing the work adequately to have answered all the key questions that came up? So it is an examination, and you would know your supervisory team is supposed to be around when you are being examined. So that part, I think he was covering mostly on the part of the student doing the PhD, and the part for the team was not eloquently spoken about. I think he was short of time. You should know when you are there and your student is being torn apart, it is the supervisory team too that is being torn apart. If you didn't help your student to navigate the murky waters, to be able to address the key issues surrounding that research topic, then you are on the spot as well. And while you are in there and the defense is taking place or the cross-examination is taking place, then you will also be, be brought onto the spot to know whether you are really capable or you are really, the supervisory team was rich enough to have addressed the question. So the supervisor will be there, and it's not for them to defend themselves, it's for them to listen and to be able to pick holes in the things that they are supposed to have done and they didn't do. Now, that's one part that needs to be spoken about, probably at another session. Secondly, when we are talking about problem statement, I spoke about this when I was giving a talk on NRF. When they say problem statement essentially, for me, whether master's degree, PhD, or you are submitting a research proposal for a grant, when I come to problem statement, I don't expect it to be more than half a page. It shouldn't be more than half a page. And the problem statement essentially speaks about three essential things. The first, the problem statement, what is the overwhelming nature of that problem you are trying to study? What's the overwhelming nature? For example, you are studying cigarette smoking among adolescents or young people and how it leads to cancer, for example. Just to give you just a general example. So when you are talking about the overwhelming nature of that problem in your problem statement, that's number one. You speak about the overwhelming, how really important. For example, your first statement will be something like, in the tobacco example, tobacco smoking is the leading cause of death. See, that's the overwhelming nature of the problem. And then we expect you, the citation here will be authoritative sources. You are citing World Health Organization. You are citing, in Nigeria, you will be citing the relevant ministries responsible for health, who have come to that conclusion that the overwhelming nature of that problem, that already shows you that if you are studying this and then you give statistics to back it up. Like in Nigeria, someone has already studied, for example, 70% of maybe bronchitis and lung cancer cases are attributed to those who smoke. So you see, that's the overwhelming nature of the problem. And you can use that for every other area of study. That's number one thing in problem statement. Number two is, what is the gap? Right? When you are talking about the gap, you are talking about what have other people done in terms of studying this problem. What have they found? Why does the problem persist? So the second part is the gap. Like I said, you try to expose the gap, and you would have done this by the literature search, and you will have seen how many people have approached the issue. For example, in the tobacco example, that they have approached it to try to cut down reduction in tobacco smoking among young people. People have probably approached it from the medical perspective, from the psychological perspective, from whatever perspective, citing recent data, what they found, and why the problem still persists. And among all the studies that people did, among what they found, what is it that is missing in the research landscape of that particular problem? Or how are you approaching it? And what is that thing you have seen and you think is what you need to address? And then, of course, number three in the example we gave, now, what is the unique and what's the innovative idea that you are coming up with now? So you are not talking about how unique your own idea is, how innovative it is, how you think it is going to address that particular gap that has been identified in number two. So I wanted to really speak to this because I have noticed in the vast number of theses I examine, whether it is for students' thesis or when they invite me to do, I'm a reviewer of grant proposals. I do a lot of talk, to researchers about, when we talk about what we mean by the research gap, or when we talk about the problem statement. So I see that it is usually a problem. Some people, when they are mentioning the problem statement, they go back to the introduction and they pick, or they go to the literature review again, they are importing literature. So I wanted to speak about this very, very clearly so that we do understand. In closing, let me tell you that objectives, so one of the key reasons why we say someone should do a major correction, or we say that a VIVA has failed, which is quite very rare, is when, please note this, when the objectives you set out to achieve, the objectives are actually the memorandum of understanding or memorandum of agreement which you sign as a student between yourself, the supervisory team, and of course the examiners that will come up later. This is the MOU which you sign that you are going to deliver on. It's like you are signing a legal document. You are saying, I'm going to be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that agreement, when you have agreed to those objectives to achieve, please ensure that at the end of the day, at the end of the thesis, whether your thesis is 5,000 pages or it is 500 pages, be very sure that the study you did for 3, 4, 5, or 6 years, you have adequately achieved these objectives. If you don't achieve those objectives, we will pick you up on them. We will also pick up the supervisory team on them. So the whole essence is an examination of what you did. Secondly, is an examination, of course, how it relates to your subject field, subject area of study, area of research. For example, if you're a biochemist, your work was related to diabetes, we will ask you mostly diabetes, and then always relate it back to your biochemistry, so that you don't have a PhD in diabetes study alone. You also have a PhD in, for example, nutritional biochemistry. So this is how these things relate. And what you signed up for, you must be able to achieve. So make sure the numbers of objectives you set out are minimal, are achievable. Like they usually say, they are smart. They have to be very smart, and you must achieve all of them. So on that note, I would like to thank everyone who participated, and to thank Dr. Wazani quite very eloquently. We cannot thank you enough, because this is the topical issue. I know there are students who I am even going to examine. This session has now given them some room to actually, understand what I'm going to look out for in their PhD thesis. So thank you very much, and God bless. A lot of good things will come your way in ages if you remain our member. Thank you, and God bless.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Paiko, President. Officially, is actually with his team. They are technically the host as of now. There are quite a number of updates that will be coming in the coming days. But I can tell you, someone asked a question about what's happening, education system and all. And I answered the question and I said, the truth is, you can't solve all problems at the same time. You can only find the best possible one you can't solve it. And so you see the effort the age done, like this is age 48 keynote lecture in 2 years. And there are 2 coming up. One, you'll soon see the notice, those of you that are in the group. One by Professor Akume. Then the last one will be by Professor Musa Ezekiel. And that will be 50 keynote lectures in 2 years. I thought somebody would give a big thumbs up on the chat. That's quite a lot. And you know what? All of those keynote lectures are on the YouTube channel. They are all there. Including these lectures, I saw a lot of people asking it to be there. Nobody deletes it. They are all there. And so one of the first things that anybody will really want to do is you go to the YouTube, you see quite a number of them that are there. And so a big thanks to everyone. Professor Paiko, thank you so much. I can tell you that the ages which will be doing amazing, which have been doing amazing work. The entire titles for 2026 keynote lectures are there. Everybody is working towards, towards that. So really, it's great for all of the efforts that lots of people behind the scene are putting. It takes a lot, actually. It takes a lot. And thanks to everyone that is also being on the call. So Prof made a very, very important comment. And yeah, please just drop that. Thank you, Prof. Not me, because yeah, on the chat box, yeah, a big thanks to the Aegis team, actually. Just type a big thanks to Aegis team in the chat box. So Prof made a comment which I think it's pertinent. The moment you make your presentation before the panel that this is your proposal, I used to tell people, go and literally print your objectives and paste it beside your bed, because that is going to be the thing between you and your PG school. That's going to be what they are going, just like what Prof said. So please, all of those things are things you won't find in a book. And the fact is, nobody may even want to tell you. You are just left to float. So this recording will be online. It will be there. You would want to join. And like I said, the feedback form, please fill the feedback form. I've already sent the PDF I promised to send, which I used in preparing this lecture, which will be sent to us as a PDF document. So over. Thank you so much once again, Prof. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Mohammed Ali Paiko, and thank you so much, Dr. Wadzani Dauda. We sincerely appreciate every one of us, scholars, doctors, professors, academic faculties from around the globe joining us for this call. We sincerely appreciate you for staying through till the end of this call. Just a little announcement for the book that was said that it's going to be given back. Please, it's going to be made available for those who fill the feedback form. So please do well to find the link of the feedback form on the chat and do well to fill in the required details, and you would have the free gift sent to your email. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining the call. We'll see you at our next keynote lecture. Thank you so much, and bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you, and bye.
Thank you, Prof.
writing/DAA to register now. The Age Academy also features Research Innovation Academy, a dynamic hub at the forefront of groundbreaking research. It's a 6-week certification course with 13 robust modules as shown on our screen. Key takeaways are mastery in crafting winning grant proposals, accredited certification, access to a comprehensive 1,303-page resource document outlining global grant opportunities valued at €534,990. Receive several samples of awarded research and NGO grant proposals. At the Research Innovation Academy, we empower researchers to tap into their creative wellspring and turn innovative concepts into tangible outcomes. Register now at www.academicenclave.org/RIA. The Age Academy also presents the Grant Writing Academy, a comprehensive 3-week grant writing certification course that is meticulously designed to empower researchers, academics, non-profit organizations, project consultants, small business owners, project managers, and social entrepreneurs with the skills to craft compelling grant proposals. Key takeaways are mastery in crafting winning grant proposals, accredited certification, access to a comprehensive 1,303-page research document outlining global grant opportunities valued at 534,990 euros. Also received several samples of awarded research and NGO grant proposals. Register now at www.academicenclave.org/GWA. Now.